Welcome back to the Oscar Project Podcast, the show where I discuss Oscar-nominated films year by year. I am your host, Jonathan Eaterberg, and today I'm bringing you an interview with Marco Perego, director of the short film Dovecote, starring Zoe Saldaña, which is currently qualified for the 97th Academy Awards. Before I jump into the interview, please be sure to subscribe to the show in your podcast player so you can get all the newest episodes as soon as they are released. If you like the interview and want to hear more, please consider leaving a rating and review in Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Marco Perego is interested in searching for new kinds of transformation and transcendence with work that addresses turbulent times and aims to start a conversation about the constant change of the world and within us. His work has been shown around the world, and he wrote and directed his first feature film, The Absence of Eden, in 2023. He joins me on the podcast to talk about his latest short film, Dovecote, which is currently qualified for the 97th Academy Awards. Marco, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So appreciated to be here.
So your film focuses on one woman's preparation for leaving a women's prison located in Venice. What was the inspiration for the film?
I was contacted to be part from Chiara Parisi and Bruno Racine, the two curators of the Venice Biennale for the Vatican Pavilion, to be part of the Vatican Pavilion, me and Zoe. And this year, the Vatican Pavilion was at the women prison, La Giudecca. After I interview different women, and I sit down with them, what I understood was sometimes a lot of these women, they feel freedom more inside than outside. What is mean about that is about the level of community that they creating inside this facility.
Sure.
And me and Alex Dinelaris, my mentor, and we writing this short together. He's we was discuss about that, and we say, why we don't bring in this from the point of view of a woman the last day of before a release.
Excellent. Yeah. And you mentioned the title of the film, Dovecote. Where did that come from specifically when you were deciding on the title for the film?
The title came because, in some architect in England, close to the house, they was making this Dovecote. Dovecote is like they're a pigeon house. They're big. And the idea is these women, they sharing 10 women at a time, one room. How great is there is a very sense of sometimes claustrophobic when you walk inside the room. And I think the idea of Dovecote is that, number of people sharing one place together, and also like a pigeon, is very present in Venice. And in the same way, when Alex captured my attention in this brilliant idea he had, it was, pigeon. There are a lot of pigeon also in New York. When you walk into New York or Venice, sometimes what the pigeon does before he dies, he just waiting there. And he's waiting there and blowing up himself. And this is the idea was, some 99% of these women, they are inside this facility, they're abused by men. And when they go out, they feel completely invisible and they feel like the pigeon.
Sure.
And that's all why Dovecote came out.
Yeah, makes sense. You mentioned the prison. You actually, I understand, filmed in this prison in Venice, feature several of the actual inmates from the prison in the film as well. How important was it to use this physical location, and do you have any difficulty getting permission to shoot there at all?
No, I was very, like I explained to you before, because I was invited to the Venice Vatican Pavilion. The Vatican Pavilion was choose to be inside the facility of the Giudecca institution. And that's why the reason we have all the permit to shoot in there. The second aspect, to have the real people, over 22 of these inmates. We're using only 5 actors, and the rest is really like the role inmate. Also the police, they're the real police. And for me and for my wife, for Alex, what was very important was about how honest we can be with them. So we don't want to make a documentary film. We was just trying to make a film about how brave and what community they building inside. And, I showed this film recently to a woman who was in parole. And she told me when she was inside, people was opening door for her. And when she was outside, nobody cared,
Yeah.
Just try to, the biggest grateful things we felt it was when we showed the film after to them, they felt see. And I think that's for all of us in our team, that was the more important things.
Yeah, I know. Definitely important for them to feel that visibility there. I love how the viewpoint of the camera changes physically in terms of how it fills the screen when you enter into the prison. And I absolutely love that transition shot there. Once we get into the prison itself, it appears that there's one continuous shot throughout the film. You mentioned Alex Dinelaris helping write the film. He had an Oscar for Birdman, which is also famously kind of a single shot style. Why did you feel like that was the right style to tell this story in that single shot?
That's a very good question. First, I'm very grateful to work with somebody like Alex. He's a spatial writer and also like a mentor to me. That's number one. The second aspect is this. I think a camera, when you make film, you know better, is just important when you what kind of story you tell. What was important was about the question of freedom. Like I explained to you, this idea, these women, they are inside La Giudecca in the more great, one of the more great cities in the world. I don't have idea about that. Meaning freedom was considered very, very important. What the choice I make it was, okay, if we are outside, we have a frame 4x3 and we cut all the time, but inside we have a 239 frame and we never cut. What is mean is inside there is a community and outside
Yeah.
there is reality. And the question I don't want to answer for anybody is freedom inside or is freedom outside? Of course, everybody feeling, oh, inside is black or white. No, actually it's the opposite, of
Yeah.
course, because building community around the 239 frame and one long shot was because all this conversation of freedom is to try to opposite and create this reverse on the audience and understand, what freedom is.
Yeah. And I like, speaking of that freedom, I almost like how you give the camera the freedom to not just follow the main character. That's kind of the central part of the first part of the film. You follow other characters into certain rooms. It's almost like we're there getting distracted visually by things that are going on. Was that kind of an intentional approach as well, or is that
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that came out of the edit?
Actually, this is Alex's idea, and I think it's brilliant. And I wanna why he wrote this way. In Aristotle's ways, when you write the structure of a film, at the second act, your character, everything is lost. But the idea, Alex, have it, and I think is to let her go Zoe out, the main character, to live in, and to have a Gaia come in, another actor come in, and she be inspection exactly how everything is lost. What this mean is you switch the character of the story point
Yeah.
of everything is lost. And what this mean is the two more important point on the short was about what question of freedom, creating community in BC, and the third one is this cycle of all these women come in and out.
Right.
We can watch in a film with this every 15 minutes, one woman come in and one woman come in. That's the recycle. In the way he structured that, he say, I'm going to make everything is lost in another character. And what is make you question is that character when Zoe was young, or that character is another character? Can she do exactly what this main character Zoe had to do? I'm thinking about when she arrived, she was very lonely. When she left, she building a community.
Sure.
And I think actually was not just in an idea, but was really a structured film. You're very taken by the visual, but there is a very, very strong structure here. Okay, the second act is actually another character does when everything is lost.
Yeah, no, I definitely like that shift. When we get to that point of the film, and I'm sorry to keep harping on these single shot aspect of the film, but these types of films really intrigue me. I know a lot of them, Birdman, Russian Ark, 1917, they're not actually single shots. So what were some of the challenges of putting together the film to look like that long single shot, either planning or once you got to the editing room?
No, I was planning everything before. We have 5 days to prep and 5 days to shooting. Like you say, when we go out of the window, that's one cut. There is, because it's impossible. But the challenge here was to use an entire environment to be almost the environment, the part of the story. And I think the environment really working very well in the way I wanna really approach this visual, but to really touch the story. And the one take again, it really helped us to find this community, to don't find this break between these women.
Yeah.
And there was a cut, there was a cut outside the window, and there's one more. At one point, we did a 22, 23 cut. It was like when we put all the women in the corridor, we was like, please, please make this work, make this work. It was very like, oh, like very, very timing was very, very special there. Because when we shot it when the facility was really working.
Right.
You know, the people there was incredible to us, but was a working facility.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite shots is that shot of all the women in the corridor. Now, you mentioned a few times your lead in the film, Zoe Saldaña. Many people probably know her, obviously, from Guardians of the Galaxy, Avatar, or Emilia Perez, which just came out on Netflix. Aside from being your wife, what made her the ideal choice for this role?
Yeah, it's a very, very important this question. The question was when we was called by Chiara Parisi and Bruno Sin, the two curator. Chiara said to me, Marco, why we don't do with Zoe and you together? You come here, you do a short film with the iPhone. I say, oh my God, with the iPhone. And I went to Zoe, say, what you want to do? You want to be part of the Venice Biennale? And I felt very interesting. In the art world, there is not really about director and actor. It's more about collaboration, you know? And I really like it the film because it's a pure act of collaboration. It's the idea that you surround yourself with people better than you. To be Zoe, outside to be, of course, my wife, she's an incredible, incredible force of nature and very raw and extremely honest in her performance all the time. And there is a scene in the corridor, I know Alex let me notice after, when the camera go somebody give the bracelet, before they give the bracelet, she turn and she giving these eyes to somebody that's not there. You understand? And you feel there is a community. I mean, this honesty of her, I really feel working very well on this film. And I think her performance, so honest and so raw and so authentic, it really showed the purity of this, you know, the essence I'm trying to search in, my wife and I try to search in about all these women.
Yeah. Now the music of the film also contributes so much to the overall mood. It's kind of a very melancholy string score that builds and builds and builds to that corridor scene that we talked about earlier. What was the idea, thought process behind choosing that type of backing score for the music?
You know, the only time the score is not working is when she's going to inspection, because I want to make it extremely silent and quiet. I work with this incredible guy, Sebastian. Alex introduced me from Argentina. He's in New York. He's a friend of Alex. When he come here, the idea was to, you know, it's very complicated inside an institution because all these women, they speak all these different language. And I want to be very honest, when this conversation with Alex was, we put a lot words inside. We don't put, when the music came, almost like an experience, a visual experience, because we were sometime, you know, you can really, we want to be authentic with all these women. What I'm trying to say with that, there is 81 women inside this facility, 23 or say 30, they are from Italy, and the rest everywhere around Europe and some from Africa. The idea was how we do this, and music help us to do that,
Yeah.
to give in that experience.
Sure. Yeah, music is definitely a unifying thing around cultures all around the world.
Yeah, and to keep it like a 17 minutes quiet, almost quiet in silence, I think it give you a different experience of a film.
For sure. Now, as we record, we are heading into the end of 2024, but are there any festivals or any other screenings coming up where people can check out the film?
Yeah, we have another screening. I think Catherine organized now with another short. I think is a short animation. We're going to do, I think, around early December in LA. And after we see what happening to the short. Listen, for us, what is very important is about to have this type of conversation for all these women. That's our job, you know, like our feel to be purity about that, you know, and we see what the people feel about the film.
For sure. Now, I have a couple of questions not specifically related to the film, but before I move on to those, is there anything else you want to touch on about Dovecote?
Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, this might be the hardest question I ask then, but if you had to pick your top 3 films of all time, what would they be?
Oh, wow. Okay, I have it. Eight and a Half of Federico Fellini, Stalker or Nostalgia of Andrei Tarkovsky, and I'm sure is one of Stanley Kubrick film. This the three, and I will put Block Orange. I think yeah, that's the three. This the or maybe Space Odyssey. Yeah, this the three film I felt in my life. They really, and maybe I pull La Strada of Federico Fellini. This the film for me.
Wonderful. Excellent choices there. Now, if you could have any 3 movie characters at your next dinner party, who would they be and why?
Yeah, of course, I will tell you Guido from Marcello Mastroianni. I'm always fascinated of Andrew Tarkovsky character. There's so much, like you say before, malinconia. They have a feeling without say too much. I will ask him to have a dinner with Andrew Tarkovsky. I will be very curious about. I know he's not a character, and wow, yeah, maybe I'm very interested about Masina character in Night of Cabiria. I just rewatched it. That's my.
Excellent.
I love this film question because I watch one film between Monday to Friday. My wife says it's a joke, but it's true. Yesterday, our kids have a 9-year-old. I just showed them 8.5, and I showed in Cinema Paradiso. You need to see the kiss scene. My son, a 9-year-old, he was doing watching it. I don't watch it. It was incredible. Like it really. Oh my god.
That's funny. Now, do you have any books that you could recommend that you've read recently or really enjoy that could be fiction or nonfiction and don't have to be related to movies?
Yeah, I just right now a friend of mine. The book I feeling is right now. I'm very interested in the Josh Brolin autobiography. It's coming out soon, and I read it, and he's a very special soul and a special storyteller. And right now I'm really fascinated about this book. And he passed between in the set of the Goonies to No Country for Old Men.
Sure.
It's very very special film for somebody book for somebody like film.
Excellent. I'll have to check that one out. And lastly, before we wrap things up, obviously you're doing promotion for this film, but do you have any other projects lined up? And also, where can people follow you online on social media or anything to keep tabs on what you're working on?
Yes, this year 2 film. One is I'm writing with Alex Dinelaris, and I directing. His name is Petricor, and it's a personal story. It's very Dovecote, but in a future lens. I'm very excited. And another one will be the directing debut of Alex like a director, and I produce it with his our company and his company Lexicon. I'm very excited about these 2 projects. And I collaborate with Alex and also Zoe. For me, this is something I'm looking forward to go. It's a very special experience.
And do you have social media? Anywhere people can follow?
Yeah, I don't post almost nothing. I only but is my Instagram is a Pirate Jadimar, and that's just my Instagram. Or have like a website for people see my art.
Excellent. We'll put a link to that in the show notes so people can follow you if they're not already.
And thank you for the question. I just want to say thank you for the question of Dovco, because when you see a short, it's more complicated. Looking at future lens and to see a structure there, and in the frame, I think it was very important to understand it's not just a choice, creativity, but a choice for the story.
Absolutely. No, I definitely know that a lot goes in, even in a short film like this, a lot goes into all of those different shots and those choices.
Thank you.
Well, Marco, thank you so much for the time today. Really appreciated you sharing your film with me and sharing the stories that went into the creation of the film.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you again to my guest today, Marco Perego. His short film, Dovecote, is qualified for the 97th Academy Awards. The Oscar Project podcast is written and produced by me, Jonathan Eacherberg, with editing assistance from Joshua Eacherberg. If you'd like more movie coverage, check out the Oscar Project online at theoscarproject.substack.com, and be sure to come back for my next episode where I will be speaking with Isaac Bell, Emiliano Bolado, and Madeline Horcher, star, director, and producer of the short film Over the Board. Until then, I hope to see you at the movies.